Hello and welcome to YesterYear's Mac Games, where today we're playing a platformer. Scruffy II, with the 2 stylized like the Apple II, is quite a beloved piece of shareware by Brian Barnes, which is, as one might expect, a sequel to the earlier Scruffy. The first game, which I'm emulating here with Mini VMac, was started in 1988, finished off in 1990, and let loose in 91. It features a dog called Scruffy on a quest to rescue his girlfriend from Martians. Scruffy walks left and right across the mazes of Mars City, dropping bombs to vanquish Martians and collecting bones to advance to the next stage, whereby the level dissolves and renders Scruffy plummeting to the next one. Straightforward monochrome stuff. The sequel landed sometime around 93, or at least that's when the README says the game was completed, and it doesn't mess with the formula too much. It adds more variety to the enemies, more complex levels, a pretty similar plot, and music. The story behind what's going on is pretty much exactly the same as the first game, a point acknowledged in the game's less than serious README that makes entertaining reading. Scruffy's missus has been nabbed again and taken to Mars City, all expenses paid for by a mysterious villain. Ooh, you know they mean business when they dot their I's with a skull. Scruffy therefore traverses 30 levels of platforms, springs, hostiles and red bones, which were only red so they stood out from the background. There's a boss battle every 5 levels. These are probably the game's highlight, and really break up the gameplay. While Scruffy does have offensive capabilities, some of the bosses need to be damaged in a specific way. This jetpack fella, for instance, can only be hurt from his own shots that have recoiled off Scruffy's bombs. The Martian King's first stage involves jumping on his UFO, and this chicken leg, which you might think is what you're fighting, is actually just a distraction from the real boss here. A flying chicken. Chickens obviously don't fly, and neither do cats. Nevertheless, flying cats are plentiful across the stages, nicking Scruffy's bones and requiring a good barking at to dispatch. Other hostiles include the Martians themselves, I thought they were frogs initially, which respawn and get in the way an awful lot. Ninja bunnies, this one seems to be stuck, balloon snakes, haywire telephones, and hordes of toasters, with an infinite supply of killer toast. Scruffy's barks and bombs, don't ask where his bombs come from, are enough to see off all of these, and the somewhat generous life bar will see the titular pooch through a few bad situations. It's quite a forgiving game, although there are harder difficulty modes for those after a challenge. A password system enables players to resume where they left off with a full complement of lives, and a scoreboard keeps on top of the highest point scorers. There's also a bonus round where Scruffy drives a car. Not sure where he got that from, but there's an extra life for every 50 miles driven, so it's all very welcome. So what exactly makes this game stand out? Well, I hadn't played it before now, but I do understand its charm. Obviously it's easy enough for youngsters to pick up, and there are, now that I think about it, not actually that many platformers for this particular vintage of Macs that the game runs on. Graphics aren't exactly complex, it was a shareware game after all, so an indie of its era, but I think that these visuals add an extra something. You know how a handmade cake won't look as tidy as a machine-made store-bought one, but usually tastes better? Well, I think the same can be said here. The backgrounds in particular are a bit wonky, and look to have been drawn and coloured with the mouse in a paint programme, but I feel that actually embodies the Macintosh shareware scene rather well. Its less than serious atmosphere adds to the enjoyment, and the gameplay has enough ideas mixed into it to keep every level fresh. There were a couple of incidents during my playthrough that caused a bit of annoyance. On one level, I think a cat might have nicked a bone, as they do. I ran around for ages trying to find it and couldn't. I had to restart the level, losing a life to retry, and breezed through it on the second attempt, so I'm not sure which bone was the missing one. There was also this section here, where these one-directional movement thingies got me stuck, and with only a couple of hostiles up on the right hurting Scruffy, I wasn't able to restart this stage as quickly. I then made the same mistake again because I'm that good, lost patience, and quit. So the occasional level hiccup aside, should you have an old Mac capable of 16 colours, it won't boot on anything more complex than that, so Macs modern enough to run OS 9 are all out. Then Scruffy II is a game worth taking for a spin. You can find links to some downloads in the video description. Scruffy II wasn't Scruffy's last outing. Around about 2012, if its website is any indication of such things, Scruffy got a new lease of life on the Mac and iOS App Store. It isn't there anymore, so we'll have to make do with these screenshots, but we can see that the core side-scrolling element stayed put as it jumped into 3D. Anyway, that'll just about do it for this edition of YY's MG. For more classic Mac gaming, check out my other videos, my Twitter, @YYsMG, and the Classic Mac Gaming subreddit. Subscribe for more, share memories in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.